right, guys. So today we're gonna try to keep it short, sweet, and simple for you guys, but also we want to make sure we answer all the questions. Give us emojis on how you're feeling if you're working from home. We know a lot is happening. This is more important than ever today, just because it's officially New York City is going on quarantine. Miami is still going. Yeah, so Miami's still doing its own thing. So we have people everywhere right now. So today we want to make it super simple. We want to give you productive tips, but also just let us know if you have any questions along the way. But before we get started, I wanted to show you guys my space. So I'm nomadic, which means that I have to go in different places. So as I
just realized that I'm under escape artist, so I'm going to jump on under producer guys.
Okay, cool.
I'll be back.
All right. So while she does that, everybody, I am going to show you guys my station, my workstation. So I'm pretty nomadic, which means that everywhere I go, I have to create a station. So wherever I'm at, usually in New York, I'll have a couple of places that I'm at depending on how long I stay. So I have to make it really comfortable yet really simple, that it doesn't take a lot of space. And I think this is going to be even more important for people at home, especially now that, you know, for any new people that are coming on board. So I'm going to show you the station while she comes on board. Hold on. All right, y'all. Okay. So this table is super, super simple, as you see here. You see there, this is a very compact table. It has drawers and everything else. This is my chair. I have to have a comfortable chair, which is really important for everybody. And then this just opens up, y'all. So it's super easy to open. It has a little piece underneath that I just pull out, which I can still do, which is what I love with one hand. So now that opens up to, boom, a full station. Yay! So on my station, I have like little things that inspire me and that also at the same time has value. So, you know, I'm full of ideas and that inspires me, but it's also paper clips, which is pretty cool. I have a little microphone. It's actually an eraser. Hold on one second. Let me add her. Little things that inspire you. So for me, oh, this is actually a sharpener for my pencil, but it's also a speaker microphone because this year was my year of being a speaker. So it's like little things that I have. I have a little mailbox. Again, I'm very nomadic. So this little mailbox is for me to leave messages for my family. And so they always come in, and if they see the little thing sticking up, they know that there's a message for them there, and they're able to pull it out.
Aww, that's cute.
So that's my way of staying connected even when I'm not here. I'm full of a lot. Oh, obviously I have to say the day. My award,
don't mind me. I'm just moving around the house, everybody. For those looking like, what is she doing?
my ward is there as well. And then the globe, because I love to travel the world. So this is something that keeps me inspired and going. I have to have love all over. So this is tape. Again, everything's really practical for me. A little gift here. Hey, Shida. But to keep all my things handy, it's all about just really having all your tools really accessible. So that's like my little workstation for, and like I said, the desk just fully opens up. So it's pretty cool. So with that said, back to us. And we're going to start right away with the little tips. So Jasmine, you have a few tips for everyone. Sorry, guys, I'm just pulling
my workstation today. I just want to show it really quick. Does not look as cute as yours, especially because it's been a really heavy kind of day, like with the whole thing with the shutdown going on, and talking to my friends and family and trying to strategize on what we're going to do, and then getting on the phone with clients. It's been a very hectic morning. So thank you, everyone, for jumping on with us and for being here currently. But hopefully we can inspire you to set up your workstations. And mine isn't looking too flat today, but I kept it simple. What I do is I'm in a bright room. I love this room. I have my art that surrounds me, some that I've created, some from other artists. I always keep it very simple, very clutter-free. Right now I do have, since I'm getting over my strep throat and my cold, I do have a little medical station going on with my oils, essential oils is very important, especially if you're not feeling well. I have a couple of things over here that are like little things. My music, I always have to have music to create ambiance, and I always have my notes. And then whenever I have a book that I keep out. I always have a book to read, especially to kind of take my eyes off the computer to give myself breaks. I keep a journal nearby as well as my planner and my laptop. So pretty much, and some flowers. I always have flowers. I love having flowers. It makes the room nice and clean and warm and ambiance.
Yes.
Hi, Joaquin. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, so that's really different. So as you notice, it's really important to have all your tools accessible for you. So there was a little blue box on my table, and that's where I have my little book and my journal, so that it's really accessible for me. And then of course I add my laptop to it. So that's really important for us to have there.
Yeah, very important.
So, but let's talk about like what you could do. Like a lot of people now are having to work from home because it's not mandatory and this quarantine happening. So there's a whole transition that has to take place. So we're going to start right away with the tips. So Jasmine, let's start with your stuff and then I'll just add on and chime into those things.
Yes. So, as I mentioned about setting up, I like to set up the night before. Setting up the night before, I always say, sets me up for success. I know that, a lot of people do incorporate this into their routine. I know some people who don't. So it's important to, regardless whether you're leaving the house or not, to be set up the night before. So when you wake up exactly what you're getting into, what you're doing. So I will literally set up my area so I know where I'm going to be working at. I have my to-do list. I have my planner laid out, whether it's digital or, you're writing it physically down. And pretty much my clothes down to like my meal plan. I literally get everything down to the T. So I know exactly where, when, what I'm doing starting the night before. And then so you want me to keep going? Because now I'm going to go into the morning.
Okay. So the night before, definitely planning. I think for some parents or children, it's going to be tough to leave things laid out because of the fact that children might end up touching stuff.
My mom did that with me as a kid. Maybe she trained us to be OCD at a young age, but we were setting up our clothes, our uniforms the night before.
Yeah.
Down to the socks.
Yeah, and that'll be, some people do have that discipline, but unfortunately, like some people and their kids won't have that. But I think that overall the planning is really important to be strategic, but not just about the day, but just plan out like what you want to accomplish for the week so that you're able to break down your days. So I'm all about strategy, and it's really saying, okay, so for example, right now, this is all new to everyone. After this weekend, everyone's going to have to do that mind shift if I have to work from home. So I would say your strategy for the first week is just learn to adapt. Don't create this whole vigorous schedule of what you're going to do.
But that's why I said narrow it down to the day. So you kind of get yourself used to, and like baby steps when you're building new habits, it takes about at least 21 days to build a habit. So it's like if you just to jump right in and trying to not to overwhelm a person, not to overwhelm yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's why I'm just saying, like, the first step for everyone should just be to learn to shift into this of, okay, now I'm no longer going to be outside. I'm no longer going to be around everybody else. So what is the goal that I want? So when you start right away and say, okay, first I have to adapt. So how do I adapt? What am I going to miss? Like, it's really important. Make a list of what you're going to miss. So if it's going to be that you're going to miss being around people, then part of your strategy would be to include staying connected. You know what I mean? Finding ways that instead of just working, because I know that for this week after transition, it's going to be hard for me not to be around everyone. So really being able to say, okay, I'm going to need to stay connected somehow to stay sane. So now you schedule your day to include video chats like you and I say. We are always doing that all the time amongst ourselves. And I do it all the time because I am nomadic. But being able to say, okay, what are the essential things that I need to be able to do this transition? So before you even think about your work schedule, because you could end up doing a work schedule, but then in a routine, but if it's not going to be conducive to you doing this proper transition, then it's not going to go well.
No, but that was step one. We haven't even gotten to the other steps.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm saying in step one in planning, it's being aware of what it is that you need for yourself, right? So if you're planning your week on Sunday night per se, what is it that you really need for yourself that week so that you could plan it accordingly? And that's why I always say, think about the whole week as a whole, so that then you could break down your days and be able to say, okay, this is what I need. This is what's important to me. And how do I make sure that I'm adding that in my week? you know? So, all right. So now the morning of.
Now the morning of. So now that you planned out the night before, the morning of, I always encourage people, even if you're going to be working from home, to still get up and treat it as you're leaving the house. Get up, take a shower, if you have a morning routine, do a morning routine, or is not, maybe now's the time to create one. Make sure you get dressed. Make sure you know, if you like to you do your hair, you know, for anybody that likes to wear makeup, put on some makeup, but make sure that you get yourself up and awake. It's very important so that you can feel like you're transitioning to doing something.
Yeah, and that's really important that you do get up and act like you're going to work. And one thing that I would add, especially and it's not just for parents, it's anyone that is now sharing space, because now spouses are having to deal with each other 24/7. You know, you have parents that are dealing with their children 24/7. They're like, who are you? And like, what? You know, there's a whole new level of respect for teachers. Get that ass out of
yes,
bed.
Denise.
Yes, make your bed.
Get it
always
out.
make my bed. Yeah.
Some people like to work in pajamas. And we were just having, Roxy and I were just having a conversation about this, about, you know, some people like to, you know, work out of their beds. Some people like to be in pajamas. And I know this is not like, this is a generally speak, like our tips, they're for general, but you're going to find your flow. I personally like to get out of bed. I don't like my bedroom. It's dark in there. There's no structure. My back starts to hurt, which creates migraines because I have no back support. So that's the reason why I like to get up and transition to feel like I'm actually going to do work.
Yeah. So, so that's really important. So what I was saying in the beginning is you're no longer having to commute. So that's a good thing because now you have that extra window. So what I do recommend is taking advantage to wake up earlier than everybody else does, because that's going to be your downtime. That's going to be your time, because especially if you're staying with other people in the house, you are going to want that downtime. And if you have kids, that may not be possible all the time. And New York City has small apartments. It's not like our Miami apartments that are bigger that you could just separate. But New York City has a lot smaller apartments. So you might end up, you know, in these confined areas. So take that morning, exactly, Janice, to meditate. Take that morning to have your time to journal, to exercise, to do whatever it is before everyone else gets up. And I think that's going to be really important to maintaining your sanity during the process.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So going off that, after I get up, beautify, I'm refreshed. And I do have a morning routine.
Lock that bathroom door and take your time.
Yes, always. You know, I am lucky that I do have some space in here that I can breathe. For those that are working in confined areas and that who've been wanting to actually get up a little earlier to start a new morning routine, this is actually the perfect time to do that, to take advantage of that extra hour that you're not going to be commuting or so, because for me, you know, my commutes are a lot longer. So basically when I first wake up, I meditate immediately. For me, I like to give myself 20 minutes of meditation. I like to journal. I like to work out. And then I like to dive into something. I do what's called like this power hour, and I like to dive into something that's educational. So, and this is all just for me. That's how I pamper myself for the first hour of the morning before the clock, you know, hits where I have to start tend to everybody else's needs, especially my clients. So that's what I do to nurture myself. For everybody else, they may want to, you know, focus on working out, maybe, you know, just start small, take baby steps with that morning routine of how that look like. So
yeah, I think that's the key thing, is establishing a morning routine, because if you don't, then that's where, you know, you're going to lack the productivity, or you're just going to go like slacking around with it. I think one thing that really helps me, for example, is also setting up something that forces me to know. So for example, setting up a video meeting or video call, because then now I know, like, I need to be up and ready. So now you're forcing yourself to do it. You're going to be up and ready because of the fact that you have a video call, you know, so you're going to have,
you know, it creates, it's those little tricks, not to cut you off. It's those little tricks that help you with basically that crunch time. So like I intentionally, and I do this even at home and when I leave the house, I intentionally don't have my battery pack plugged into my laptop. I don't have my power supply. So I know I have X amount of hours to actually really bang it out. I create these, you know, deadlines in order for me to be motivated. Just like you setting up
Mhm.
the meeting in the morning. It's just so that you know you have to get it done.
Yeah, and for me, because like you could end up just taking the charge and going back to bed. That's why for me, it's more about I need to get ready because they're gonna see me in like 45 minutes, and I have this window to get ready. So if you know that you don't have that discipline or you need more discipline for it or more motivation, definitely just schedule things that will force you to have to be ready. And to stay connected as well. Jerry, who is actually on with us, I believe. Jerry, are you still there? Jerry actually is really smart. What she ended up doing is that she now created a coffee break group with her team, because one of the things that they're going to miss is connecting by the water cooler and during the coffee break.
That's
You
super
know?
smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So
can still have that social connectivity while you're doing
exactly.
hiatus now, while we're all being locked up.
Right. So it was really identifying what am I going to miss about this. There's so many perks about being able to work from home, but there's also things that you're going to miss. Another thing that's really important is create your support system. That's really, really key. I like that idea. Cool. So yeah, setting up your support system is really going to be key. We actually got just a huge demand to create the mentorship program, which you and I have been speaking about as well, to create that support system for the groups that we're not only showing you how to build up while you're at it, but also, be able to get that support system. So find the support system, whether it's your tribe of people. I love seeing, me, I am like in my haven right now because I've been trying to get people to do digital stuff, and I feel like this time is really connecting people. It's forcing people to connect, and I'm loving the pictures that are showing up of everybody on screens together because it's something that I always do.
Yeah.
So I love, like, one of my guy friends had like cervezas with everyone on Zoom, and then all of a sudden was watching the game with his friends. So it's really finding your tribe to stay connected, find a way that you find that balance for yourself. And if you have children, it may be something early in the morning. A girlfriend of mine has a 5 a.m. club, you know? So
Just Lauren.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I
So
know. I'm like, I can't imagine the not so glamorous hours that's the name of her platform. I can't
yeah,
imagine waking up at
yeah.
5 a.m. to have these calls. But I know people are part of it and it works for them.
Yeah, but you know what? It's necessary because, again, if that's going to be your only time because you're surrounded by so much else and, you have other responsibilities, then you make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So there's also, you could end up doing midnight hours, whatever works best for you and your tribe, but really finding that if you don't have a tribe, find the tribe. Just put a message out there, say, hey, who wants to huddle at this time? Who wants to support each other? Because I think that's really, really key. I was speaking to somebody else that does parenting workshops, April Hernandez. She's super amazing. And so now we're taking her stuff virtual so that parents get the support with their teens. But one thing that she mentioned is that, there's always about children have a tribe. There's a village to raise children, but where's the village to support the parents raising those children? So for spouses as well, if you have friends that are married, like, check in on them, like how are y'all doing, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that they're staying sane and they're still having their individual lives or whatever it is. So that's going to be really important.
So what I've been doing with talking about the connecting, I feel like I've talked more over the phone now than I have in a long time. And growing up from analog into digital, being that like as a kid, I would get on the phone and talk to my friends, and then now most of the time we're texting each other or DMing and messaging. So it's been very interesting over the past 2 weeks for me because I haven't been able to work the past 2 weeks since the event production industry has been at a standstill. So I kind of had jump start at this on creating a different kind of structure of what's happening.
Uh-huh.
But so I've been scheduling calls. And so like every 2 hours I take my break when I'm working at home, regardless, whether it's for myself or my clients, I always take breaks. And then during those breaks, I get up, I move around, I make sure I hydrate. I'm always drinking water. I go and, either meditate, read a book. A lot of the time I have this past week, especially been getting on the phone and talking to friends and family. Especially now more than ever, it's important to be checking in, like you said. And building that tribe. It's like, it's been pretty cool that we're doing these group FaceTimes, the family and friends, and doing, you know, social hour, happy hour. It's really weird, but it's been connecting me, especially because I'm a social butterfly. So it's been super helpful in, you know, maintaining some type of connection with everybody while I'm completely locked up.
And that's what I love about this, because I feel that everybody was so text, you know, like I was the one always like calling and FaceTiming people and doing stuff. And I feel like between email and text and DMs and stuff, you know, like there's times that people are trying to have a whole conversation with me on DM, and I'm like, why are we on DM? Why are you not like calling me or texting me? Like, how did we like move into this, you know? So, but yeah, so it's really important. But one thing that you mentioned was the staying hydrated. And that's something that's really important as well, especially if you guys are working and you have a tough work schedule. Because when I worked corporate, that was really tough for me, the whole work schedule, because once I started working, it would just flow. And because I wasn't commuting, I was working super early and ending really late. So one thing that I do is put alarms on to remind me to simple things like get up and drink water, get up and stretch out. Like, don't stay sitting all day in your on your desk, like, or wherever you're at. Like, get up and move. That's going to be really, really important, especially now. You were mentioning how they have all these memes of how people are going to be so like out of shape after this.
Yeah.
But
I'm like, well, I'm working out from home. So it's like, you know, you don't have to be out of shape. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Get up
This is
and
not
move.
even the best time. At lunchtime, instead, I've been going for, you know, my block's a lot more, you know, dense. It's a lot more isolated. So I can actually jog around my neighborhood. Or I've been working out here, doing my you know, my little online cardio, my HIIT workouts.
Yeah.
At 12 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely get up and work out, you know, and even if you don't work out, like I'm the worst with working out, we know that. But
at least stretch.
Yeah, but I get up and stretch. So I do my ballerina moves, you know, and I start stretching and moving around, because that's really important. You don't want to just create a body that's just sitting still, because that's just going to create a domino of health effects. So definitely put your alarm on to remind you to get up, you know, to just get you moving and going, to eat. Because sometimes I remember when I was corporate and I started working from home, I was going straight through, and it wasn't until my stomach started growling that I was like, what time is it? I'm like, shit, it's 3 o'clock. Like, what the hell happened with the day? So definitely staying on track of yourself with that, so that you're moving around. And again, you know, if it means like holding each other accountable, having accountability buddies where you're checking in on each other, making sure that you're making progress, that you're doing well, that's going to be really key as well.
That's what I've been doing with a lot of the artists that I work with. We've been checking in with each other daily. We were doing that before this situation with COVID started, but I'm doing it more now than ever, because it's been nice to be able to, like, instead of doing that 5 a.m. call that Jessica does, I've been doing it more like at the start of the day at 9 a.m. just to kind of like, okay, so you say you're going to do X, Y, and Z today, and then having that accountability, having that support, having that connectivity. So it's like, you know, you are still engaging, but you're also setting yourself up for success. And it feels good when you do touch base, and you do, you know, especially at the start of the day. It's super important, and throughout.
Yeah. And for some people, it might be in the middle of the day and night, whatever works best for everyone here. It's really important. Like I said, you know, with Derry, it's going to be in the afternoons. I think it's like 3 o'clock, because that's like the ideal time for them to connect and, you know, just have that water cooler conversation. But again, it's really seeing what works better for you guys in general.
Yeah. Yeah. The tips are meant to take them and you know, you customize your own plan. Essentially, it's, you know, it's not like you have to do exactly literally step by step of everything that, you know, we're suggesting, but it is a method of creating some type of system, creating some type of structure, some type of flow. Setup is truly important, and try to just always keep in mind trying to start it and get ahead of it the night before, at least, even at the top of the week, especially starting on now Sunday nights, because we don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how long they mentioned the quarantine is going to be happening now in New York, but at least for next week, just Sunday night, have some downtime, just kind of get into the zone and try to figure out and start laying out your week starting then, so you don't have to get overwhelmed.
The other thing I will say, for those of you that are not working on your own and that are working with companies, is to ask your companies what the goals are while you guys are out. so that you make sure that you're meeting the goals. So speak with your companies, say, what is the goal now? Sabrina,
I know.
speak with your companies, speak to your managers, and find out the goals that they're going to be having. What are the urgencies that have to take place? Because again, everyone right now is in a whole different phase. Companies are worried about business continuity. So just step up and ask, like, what can we do during this time to make sure that there is this business continuity? And this way you're also setting up your schedules to help reach those goals that are there. And it'll give you better insight of what your day has to look like versus being reactive or sitting and waiting to be told. You're already creating that plan.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because I'm so used to working on my own that for people who aren't, they may feel overwhelmed. Like, all right, like, what do I start? Where do I start? How do I start? Yeah. So like all these questions.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing that's happening a lot with people that are working corporate, that they started working from home, but they have no structure. But it's not because of them. It's because the company's giving them no structure. The company's so busy turning out profits.
Yeah, they need to set them up for success. Because,
yeah, so
this is new for everybody.
Yeah, so then they're sitting there and then they're just like, what do I do? But which in theory would be great, but then the last thing you want is for all this to be over and be like, well, you didn't have value during this time. Well, you didn't tell me, So I think this is a really good time for people to also shine and just be like, hey, like, what can I do and how can I help? Because again, the more we look out for whether it's big companies or small companies to survive, the better that we will be at the end of all this. Because the reality of this is that this is going to cause a major economic and social change in our infrastructure, right? So it's something that we have to just be really aware of. How are we being, effective and proactive with this versus reactive?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause for a second. I know we're saying a lot. With what we're saying so far, do you guys have any questions, any comments, any concerns? Any ideas?
Anything we didn't touch upon that you would like us to elaborate more on?
Yeah. So don't get scared. We won't bite virtually. Another thing that I do also that I used to do all the time, and I see more people doing as well, is tea and conversation, where I just get together with friends and we're drinking tea. Some people may drink wine because they like wine better than tea. But whatever it is, it's just really hunkering down and making that time for yourself. There's also like really amazing tools to keep your kids active. So that's really important because like for parents and that are now having to be teachers as well. For parents that are a little confused as well, like connect with teachers, put a call out for teachers because everybody knows a teacher. Being able to put a call out and say, hey, I need help. Just being able to say that would, again, just don't be afraid to ask for the help that you need. There's also a lot of free online resources that people are offering now, which is amazing. Like,
Adobe is offering a free package for students, which is amazing. Verizon is offering free Wi-Fi to students. So there's a lot of companies are stepping it up in order to help the families out there that are now working.
Yeah, but even more so, like there's stuff like, NASA is reading books to people, to kids.
I saw that space.
I'm like, listen, I'm about to get my school on now that it's all virtual. I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that field trip, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. So that's for the structure. In terms of, so we spoke about setup, we spoke about structure. The other thing I want to speak about that's really important is productivity. So how to stay productive. You kind of hit on it in terms of creating a schedule, but it's also finding tools that will help you be productive as well. There's like a bunch of free tools. So I really, really love G Suite. And a lot of people don't know this. G Suite has this thing called Streak on it. And Streak actually provides like this project management CRM database within your emails. And it's amazing. So that allows
how you set it up. I don't even know about this.
Yeah, so if you go to Google Streak for G Suite, it'll have a link, and then if you're already logged in, you click on it and then it just uploads it. So what I love about this, y'all, is that it allows me to be productive even when I'm sleeping.
How?
So because I got my naps that I have to do. But late at night is when I'm most creative. So at night, I'm like just typing away, sending out all my messages, doing everything. In the past, I would have to wake up early to send out emails, or I would have to time to see, like, you know what, Jasmine, it's better to receive emails after 11 o'clock. So I would have to time it.
That is my time. You remember that?
I know.
I have
So,
my time blocks where I'm not
I
reading
know.
emails or text messages before.
Exactly. So when you know the people's habits, you don't want them sitting in their mailbox and you're like 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I really love about this app, this extension that you could add, but it's only on your desktop, is that I could sit there and schedule all my emails for the times I know that my clients and people are going to read it best. And so it also allows me to do it in the mornings or whatever time. So it's either I'm scheduling it to make sure that it meets the person's need, or I'm scheduling it in the morning just to get it all done.
But
So,
Google, but Gmail does that though. You could schedule the emails.
yeah, with a streak. But what I
Also,
love
I don't do a streak. I just do it.
no, but let me finish telling you about streak.
Sorry.
Girl, take a breath. So Google allows you to schedule it. But what Streak does, and this is why I love this, is that it allows you to do follow-ups and it allows you to do projects. So now that if we're working on the project, all these emails go onto the project management tool, but it gives you little nudges. So say that I emailed you and you don't answer me, or vice versa, it'll nudge me and say, hey, this has a follow-up. So it uses AI, which goes in and assesses like what was said in this email. So if there's a question mark, or if there's like something that they say, oh, this is a follow-up required in this email, then G Suite will notify you, hey, you need to follow up on this. Do you want to ignore this, or do you want to like take action? And it's been great because I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to answer this person. Or wait a minute, why hasn't this person responded to me? I even forgot I sent that email. Because we get so busy that we'll forget that we sent out messages or that we're supposed to follow up on something. And I think that's really big with work as well in general, that you may be hit with so much. And now it's even more so just because we're getting hit with so much politically and what's the new rules up to date for the state and, you know, everything else. So whatever ways you have to keep yourself, you know, managing these projects will be really important so that you have something that allows you to follow up so you don't fail in your job. They have free tools like Trello that you could create processes. So if you have a department that you're in charge of a team.
Or Slack. Slack is good also for corporate communications among groups. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another important thing of finding these tools and how to stay engaged with your team if you're running a team. Because I know Derry is part of a team and there's like different groups that are part of teams. So that's going to be really important as well to be able to manage that.
I think we should follow up after this if anybody's interested in wanting, because you also have a great resource guide of some sort that you've put together in the past.
Oh, the free tools for, yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in that, they can definitely DM us.
Yeah, it's like 32 tools that you could use to keep productive and flowing. Yeah. So that's really
and for me, I'm not an app kind of person. And it depends. Once again, it's about customizing it and what works for you on your flow. So for me, I don't use a lot of applications. I block out times, just like I was saying about the mornings. From 11 to 12, I'll follow up with emails, and then, you know, I'll take my break, lunch. Then at 1 o'clock, I'll have a project set up from between 1 to 3. So I do chunks, and that's how I set myself up for productivity. For those who are more have an old school soul, I'm like, you know, I love the apps, but for a little assist, like I love using Evernote to keep in my notes all organized. But otherwise, I really block it out with like pen and paper, literally.
Yeah. Joaquin, you have a question? He's raising his hand.
I know.
It's so cool. It feels like a classroom.
Joaquin, like, your hair is not blonde, and that person do not look like that.
Feel free to ask a question.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone, just feel free to ask questions. How are y'all feeling? Are you feeling like uncertain? How's everyone feeling with all this? We definitely want to, you know, hear from you guys. If you want to jump on the video, feel free to let us know and we'll share. Yeah, feel free to make the request and we're more than happy to have you join in. But yeah, so the productivity is really important. But again, if you're working for corporate jobs, it's definitely working with your manager and your team to find the structure. We've been working a lot with different companies to help them figure that out because every company is going to have something different. Oh, I raised my hand that I was interested in your resources breakdown that you mentioned. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely send that out. Just DM me and we'll send you the link. So yeah, so for those of you that aren't self-employed, that are working with companies, again, don't just go setting structure. Just ask your companies first because there may be certain requirements why they won't be able to accept certain applications. I'm good taking a real day off today, gonna stream in half hour, LOL. And they don't have breakdown here on skin. Yes, they do. If you press it, Joaquin, if you
Let me
hold the
see.
emoji, you'll see all the different colors on that. Can't fight the fro says feeling okay. Awesome. Yeah, what tips do you guys have? We're sharing our experiences and our tips, but what tips do you have with you staying productive and, doing your stuff? Look at sharing her view.
Listen, I'm blessed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm blessed that I have peace on my block, and I have the beautiful sun that comes in. That's why I mentioned it's all about the setup. Set yourself up for success. It's all about the ambiance, the feng shui.
Definitely at Light. They have, I don't know if you can do deliveries now, but I know that they have the sunlights that you could order to put because not all New York City places have windows.
Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, I did see something about that. It provides this. It's artificial light, but it mimics the sun. And I forgot what kind of bulbs they're called.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if there's still deliveries allowed and those deliveries allowed, those are gonna go out of sale, out of stock, just because everyone's gonna be locked in. Yeah. But light is definitely a big thing. Me and my wife remind each other what we have to do and keep tabs on each other. Real life app support. There you go. Exactly. Accountability.
Building support systems is super important. And then also talking about the flow the night before, the flow of the morning, the flow, throughout the day. Just remember to, cut yourself at some point because like you mentioned, Roxy, you could get caught up working all day. Yeah. I've done this as well, where when I'm working for a client that I realize it's 8 o'clock at night and I'm working a lot more than I would have if I would have went and worked on site with them or in their office. So making sure you cut yourself look, that's it. This is, I'm going to wrap my day up at 6 o'clock. Make sure to give yourself those breaks. And so that you don't burn yourself out, especially during this time while you're at home.
Yeah, exactly. Just making the best of situations. Again, not everyone's going to have, specific furniture or space. I'm nomadic, so I have to make the best out of every space I go to.
Oh, we were just talking about that. Yeah. Like you can't, if you don't have a table at home, I've worked with milk crates. I've taken things and made tables in order, because for me, I need a table. I need a table. So to avoid I need structure. I need my back posture upright. I need it allows me to really get into flow. And once I'm in flow and I'm comfortable in my space, I'm good to go.
Yeah. So does anyone have a workspace? I would love for you guys to just request the video and show off your workspace for us to serve as inspiration for everybody else. That would be really cool. So feel free to just request live. So that's in terms of productivity, which is really important, keeping yourself on track with things. So scheduling things, doing the alarms, making sure that you're having people hold you accountable. So those of you working, finding your coworkers that you could stay connected with to make sure that you're bouncing ideas off of each other, doing video calls. I think it's going to be really important as well to help you with setting up that structure. And then managing the expectations with your family, having serious conversations if you have children, sitting down with your spouses and your children and having a real life discussion of, all right, we're about to be hunkered down for X amount of time. What does this mean for us?
Have those talks in advance. Yeah. A lot of my friends that jump right into home work life with the kids at home now, they they found themselves very flustered and stressed out. And it's just
Yeah.
like, you know, building that system, just sitting down, talking about it.
Yeah, speak with your spouses, speak with your partners or whoever's helping you, because I know some people are living with the parents and raising the children. But whoever you're with, that you're going to be, whoever your what I'm calling the apocalypse buddy is, whoever your apocalypse buddy is, you need to sit down and have a real conversation with this person and just say, I love you, and you know, this is like the most time we're going to spend together. Some spouses have been lucky that they've been working together all year round and they've already figured it out. But again, for a lot of people, this is brand new, that they have to be around each other 24/7, you know, whether it's partners, family, lo que sea, roommates.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with husband at home. I'm letting you know, because he's still working, because he's part of the supply chain. So because of the fact that he hasn't, like, it's mandatory for him to go in. Because obviously the systems need food and beverage out there. So it's like, with him being home next week, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that
Yeah.
talk.
You have to
my babe just messaged me. He said, no, I'll be working, boo. So he won't be home. So I'll still have my own personal space.
Yeah.
But if he was here, we kind of built workstations that are separate, which is great.
But I think you're lucky because, again, you have all this space. You're in a house, right?
And for those that are like working with 250 square feet in a typical unit apartment, I completely feel your pain.
Yeah, so
those type of units before.
And even if you have space, you just need to have a conversation about, hey, like, how are we feeling about this? What are the expectations? How are we splitting up the responsibilities or the time? Because when you do have a small space, I've had it where, you know, we're all in one space and then we're all having conversations. You can't do that. So we have to be aware of each other's calendars, because I can't have a phone call the same time you're having a phone call. So it's little things like that about how are we going to manage our schedules? And then if you have children, being able to say, okay, how are we going to manage work with that? So
how are you going to keep them occupied while you're on?
Yeah. So I would have like a little do not disturb sign of, okay, this is when I'm going to do the calls. And even having a shared calendar where it's like, okay, guys, this is when I'm doing my calls. And whoever has the more flexible schedule, being able to say, okay, I could work my calls around that time. You know what I mean? So that we're not having these competing conversations on the phone that will limit it. And then if you're a parent, being able to say, okay, how are we wrangling the kids together? You know, so I know with one of my clients yesterday, we were on the phone. So her husband was with the kids while her and I were on the phone. But then she was kind of conscientious, like, yo, I got to go back to my husband. I told him it'd only be an hour, you know? So it's like having that conscientious thing about like, how are we collaborating as a family, you know, whether it's just amongst adults or with children there, but also having the conversations with children, being able to speak to the kids and say, hey, this is what's going on, you know, let's set up a system. Rewards-based is also really important. Rewards-based work with children really well, but not falling back on it.
But those that are under 5 years old, that presents a different set of challenges.
Oh yeah, for younger children, it becomes more about the adults working out a system of what are we going to do. And also having creative outlets for the kids, that's really important.
It's super important, Don't try to avoid putting them on devices all day long.
Yes.
The most important thing is to keep them engaged and have them doing crafts, DIYs, like, you know, give them projects to do to keep them occupied.
Little kids will stay for hours with a box, you know, so it's finding those creative things for them to do, and stacking up on that so you're able to have your time, but definitely not the screen time. We actually have a blog post about avoiding screen time that we could send to you guys as well, so that you're able to get the tips from there. But yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it's all going to be about communication with yourself first, about how am I feeling about this whole situation? What is going on with me? Embracing my fears or doubts, you know, embracing your confidence. Drop the controller for hours and start
a hobby.
I thought he said hobby. I was like, who's gonna make a hobby at home?
This is a perfect time, you know, when you are, now that you're finding, you know, you can find a creative outlet. Any projects you have going on in the house, any projects you've been wanting to get into during your downtime, during your breaks, feel free to do that as well. Like me, I'm currently not working, but I am working on work. So I do have still work going on, but then I am also looking at all the projects that I could be potentially, you know, kind of like setting up. Like I'm learning how to crochet. I'm learning how to you know, rip up carpet on the upstairs. I'm doing a whole bunch of new projects that since I'm home so much. So now I'm finding ways to, you know, be productive during the downtime, during the down hours.
So for the 9 to 5ers, you will have a schedule because you have to get your work done for work.
Yes.
So what I would say for those 9 to 5ers that have a side hustle, that have side projects or businesses that they're managing, you have all this extra time where you're not commuting anymore. So use that time to be productive with your time. So this is where you're really going to have to manage your time to be able to say, hey, I'm not commuting for an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half that now I could dedicate to doing what, you know, I need to do for my side business. By the way, Jazz, I have an idea for an event. There you go.
Turtle's probably talking about the online artist chat. We're taking it virtual because we were supposed to have it on March 29th in person at our flagship space, El Body's Art Space. But
no, he has a whole new idea. That's what he's talking about.
All right, we'll talk about it later. Yeah,
so,
now I'm taking everything out virtual.
So we're going to start wrapping up. Communication is key, whether it's yourself, your children, your spouses, your hunker down buddies, whoever it is that's going to be, having serious conversations about really asking yourselves like how you feel. Children suffer a lot of stress. Every time I've done groups, you know, events with children, and I have them raise their hands about who's suffering from stress, parents are always shocked to find out. So being able to be aware that, yes, you're going through all these emotions, but so are your kids. And also being very aware that whether it's children or adults, our emotions are a domino effect. Everyone will react to how we react. So if you are able to find a calm in the midst of all the chaos, then that will help create that domino effect for everybody else. So that's going to be really important. The communication is really important key, and asking how are we feeling every day about this. And every time you get a shocker news, speak to the kids. Kids are so much smarter than you give them credit for. Don't let them be completely shocked and unprepared as things are happening, especially if they were used to being active and going out. You know, but amongst adults as well. So communication is key. Setup is key. You don't have to have a foldable desk the way that I have a foldable desk. You don't have to have a window with a view the way that Jasmine has, but just set yourself up where your station is your station, so that you have
make it your space, make it your own. The little things, like, you know, I like to always keep my cats around, and you know, I always have my real ones and my structures around. Like, I love to create my space wherever I go, whether it's a hotel room, whether it's a cafe. You just make the space your own.
Yeah, so right now we're talking about your homes. So even if it's a little corner, just make it your corner. And you could even do a sign and say Mom's Corner, you know, or Roxy's Corner, whatever it is, it's your corner, and that becomes your space, as small as it is. And the kids could claim their own corner too, you know, just being able to say, okay, which space do you want? That's your space, you know, and this way everyone has that space. So the setup is really important, creating a structure for yourself and your family. Again, this first week, don't be rigorous about, oh, we have to have this and that and this time and everything else. Go into the flow.
Be fluid, be flexible.
Go into the flow of, we have to adapt to being with each other for the whole day. And what is that going to look like? You know, requesting the specific times that you need, but then working around that. So the structure is really going to be important. And then productivity, figuring out how you're going to be most productive, whether it's using tools or old school process, like really implementing a process that allows you to be productive. And really document your productivity, because this way you're also saying, okay, how much did I get accomplished today? So that's really going to be important, so that you're seeing progress with yourself.
And with that, because sometimes to do this, and especially with this transition, it's already overwhelming within itself. Try not to overload yourself to trying to fulfill so much in one day. And I speak this in generally, even, you know, outside of the COVID situation, that when, you know, start small, baby steps, so that you don't overload yourself. Because when you're trying to set your day up, you know, I'm going to have this many meetings, I'm going to do all this, you know, and then you don't accomplish it, you literally feel like crap afterwards. So you want to build momentum, you know, baby steps. This is a huge transition for a lot of people that are not used to working from home. So it's important to also, you know, give yourself time to adjust to this new change.
Yes. Definitely, so be kind to yourself is really,
Very
really going to be key to being kind to yourself throughout this
What are
whole
you doing?
getting my laptop. I'm like moving around getting my laptop. So yeah, it's really being kind to yourself throughout the whole process.
And yes, I agree with Francisco. Detox is important while you want to connect with people. Try not to take in too much information. It can be very overwhelming
Oh yeah,
in regards to especially what's going on in the news.
Yeah, shut off all that technology. I tell
Take
people
breaks.
to monitor the consumption of the media that they're doing, because you're gonna go crazy.
I only watch like at most 10 minutes and really small chunks. Like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, monitor your consumption, because if you don't monitor it, you will go insane.
Yeah.
So make sure you're monitoring your consumption for all this stuff so that it doesn't become something you go crazy with. So we spoke about setup, we spoke about productivity, scheduling, and structure. We are only going to have 5 minutes before this thing shuts off, because they only give you an hour. So any questions, shoot now. Comments, concerns, hit us up, people. Let us know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Send us emojis. Are you happy? Are you sad? How are you feeling right now?
Ain't nothing. Yeah, I for me, I will speak about how I'm feeling. I have my emotional waves. Sometimes I'm feeling, hi Turtle. Sometimes I'm feeling, like, oh great, we got this. And then sometimes I'm like, damn, humans, disappoint me. That's why I'm staying away from the news, because I'm like, I get overwhelmed with the news, and I'm like, oh. And then sometimes I'm feeling anxiety, a lot of anxiety. I know a lot of people are feeling a lot of anxiety of the unknown, but I'm also embracing this shift, because this can open up a whole new world of opportunities, and it could transform you in many ways and show how resilient you are as a human being.
I think this is where you really will be tested on how adaptable you are, and that's really important. It's interesting, because some people are like, I'm living my best life right now because they're introverts. I'm a mixture of
the gamers out there. I know quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. Definitely check in on your extroverts. Like, I'm a combination of both, so I'm actually like living my best life right now. But for those that don't, that do know extroverts, like, check in on them, just because, they're gonna gamer like.
I know.
They will be going stir crazy, so you have to check in on those folks and just make sure.
That's me. I'm like, I'm a socialite. I like being out and about. I work in the event industry. It's like, this is torture right now, not having an event.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm trying to start my transition to the virtual world.
Yeah. So I'm living my regular life, doing my Twitch stream in a few. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So we hope this information helps you with navigating into the whole quarantine life that we're going to have to live for a little bit. When are you streaming? Look, they're ready to go gaming streaming.
Here we go.
Look at that Twitch name. We already see how they're spending the rest of their Friday.
There you go. Happy Friday.
Yeah. So again, guys, be kind to yourself throughout this whole process. Be honest with yourself about how you're feeling, and just get the support and get the support that we're all going to need during this time. So
and if any questions come up later on, feel free to DM either one of us.
Yeah. Just keep that do that setup, keep that structure, create that productivity schedule for yourself. If you're working with different companies, make sure you're speaking to them. If you're not self-employed, don't just go setting up your own process with your own team. Check with them to see what process it is that you could actually set up. So on that note, guys, happy quarantine and chill. Bye, guys. See you. Be strong and take your vitamin C. Yes, I'm taking a lot of vitamin C.